I think personally, I feel it's very enriching experience because hearing many people doing so many experimentation in the social sector, it was really very um, uh, very exciting and very nice feeling because you know that people who are working, people are working, but listening their story from them is something which is very exciting. And some of them were really very passionate. From their face, you can make out that they are so passionate about their work. Especially three candidates whom we have chosen for this award. One of them was working on the LGBTQ issue, and the other one was working for the Andaman and Nicobar. And it was so touching to see their engagement, their passion, and they're trying so many things. It was very exciting and also very informative because you in first-hand information, listening from those who are really experimenting with the social realities and trying to make some positive changes. That's very encouraging, and especially some of them are very young. So you have a feeling that at my stage, you feel that okay, things are going, but when you see these people talking, then you feel that we are the country is in safe hands. At least there are people who are taking your work forward. Any corner of the country, but it was very exciting. I must. Frankly speaking, I don't have a face-to-face interaction, but Shefali has been very thorough, in organizing everything. Everything, despite so many difficulties which we are facing because of the, COVID situation, I think you guys did a very good job of this organizing things in a very smooth manner. I think Nirpesh was very, good facilitator. Shefali was excellent facilitator.
Okay.
So I must commend your team for doing it very beautifully. So I believe first was related to emotional health. And the second, I think she's trying to understand how CSR can play its role effectively in dealing with COVID-19 situation. So as far as emotional health is concerned, we have Pragya integrated couple of activities into our program. And it is not just because of the COVID-19 situation, because we are working extensively on LGBTQ issues for last 3 years. And whenever we are interacting with our beneficiaries or even the program implementers, we realize that emotional health is something which is very essential, not only to deal with the mental trauma and the physical abuse and social abuse which most of the marginalized communities face day in and day out. If you are living in urban slums, you are migratory population, if you are daily wager, if you are on the road pulling rickshaw or selling vegetables, you are bound to face some sort of abuse, exclusion, and some sort of exploitation day in and day out. And they are the one who are the beneficiaries of most of the CSR interventions. I think it is very essential that in our program we have to integrate some kind of activities which are working with the psyche of the beneficiaries also. Dealing with their emotional trauma, bringing some catharsis in their life. There has to be something which can really bring peace with oneself. And also, I feel it is very important for those who are implementing the project. And not only the implementing organization, but also I think the funding organization who are also witnessing so much social exclusion, exploitation day in and day out. And when you are facing this kind of discrimination day in and day out, you are witnessing abuse, you are witnessing discrimination, you are witnessing so many social malpractices. Those are bound to impact your psyche. So mental health, emotional health is something which is, I think it is so essential for anybody who is working into the social development sector or trying to bring some change into the society, especially for the marginalized community. Because you have to work, first of all, if you are healthy, then only you can suggest somebody to be healthy. Or you can recommend somebody to work. You have to be peace with yourself. Only then you can recommend, think about creative solutions. You can really think about your individual role into the, facilitating the change process. So that we have integrated. I am very happy with that, Pragya, because this single project has worked with more than 2,000 beneficiaries in last 3 months. And some of them have been really those people who were having suicidal tendencies. So think about not only the LGBT community, but also those who are locked in their houses. They are dealing with their loneliness. They are dealing with senior citizens. They are dealing with the emotional trauma of getting infected. So for those even who are dealing with some COVID-19 situation, it is very essential that this mental health and emotional health should be integrated, this entire ecosystem of social development. And it's very essential. The second thing, how CSR can play its role in dealing with COVID-19 situation. From my experience, we have diverted almost 50% of our fund towards COVID-19 situation. Without compromising with our ongoing projects. What we have done, we know that now, you don't need to invest so much on the physical facilities. But working using technology, using a learning management system, using Zoom and Google Meeting, and so many platforms available for learning as well as skill enhancement. You can really save on certain aspects, and that fund could be effectively utilized for those who are really facing the brunt of this lockdown as well as COVID-19 situation. So those are doctors in the hospital, and I'm happy that government is taking care of that. But there are, many other, sanitation workers, health workers, who are nurses and ward boys, who are really in need of PPE kits as well as sanitizer, as well as gloves and all those kind of things. So we have then police personnel, so and then safety personnel, and then security, and then health and hygiene, and the Kooda Wala, and all those kind of people who are really working for us and keeping our society clean. They are the ones who are at the front. And then there are daily wagers, migratory population, and those who are in now, those who were in the urban clubs, they have moved to the rural areas. Have to really ensure there is a two-way, difficulties they are facing. They lost their jobs in the urban, areas, or Delhi kind of places. They have moved to the villages. So in villages, they are not having anything to do, nothing to earn. So even the village, their relatives, they were getting income from whatever they were sending from the. So now we have to really go to those areas and really see that how we can really help them to survive. And also then making sure that whatever way we can facilitate the process of getting government schemes, as well as some kind of support from our side. And that way I think CSR can really play very, very effective role.
Right. Maybe new employment opportunities can be created in their hometowns only, so that they don't even have to migrate again.
Yes. So we have been thinking for a long time about the reverse migration. Now reverse migration has taken place.
Right.
We have to really take care that this reverse migration need to be really facilitate it effectively
Mhm.
with the help of NGOs, CBOs, and to those who are working at the grassroots level. We have to really strengthen them so that they can reach out these people, some skill enhancement program, some, ration distribution, and some their information about the schemes, their ability to ask for those, facilities which are being provided by the government as well as corporate agencies and bilateral agencies. We have to really be bridge between them
Mhm.
because they are the one who are like a children. They don't know where to go. They
Right.
need somebody to hold their hand and say, hey, this is something which is available to you.
Mhm.
Now you can demand for yourself so that it is not becoming like another mechanism where you are sending money and it is being diverted to somewhere else.
Mhm.
So CSR can be not only play very active role, but also the role of a facilitator
Mhm.
to effectively strengthen, empower them. That's the kind of things.
Thanks for
Uh,
enlightening us
and
with your enriching experience discussing about all those things. It's really great to hear you about it.
at least that's our humble experience of working with this community. I don't have much information how others are dealing with it.
Mhm.
But I think very humbly, but we realize that we have to really strengthen our partners in terms of wherever they wish to invest. We give them free hand to repurpose the program,
Mhm.
repurpose the fund, and come back and discuss with us what problem they are facing vis-a-vis COVID-19 situation. And in case they want some more support or facilitation, we are available for that.
Mhm. That's actually
And of course, mental health.
right.
That is something we are constantly encouraging.
Mhm.
So if you go on LinkedIn and some other site, you can see Dr. Safe Hands, who are
Mhm.
constantly giving their helpline numbers, and we are getting requests, and our psychiatrists and counselors are constantly working with the community members, trained psychiatrists and counselors.
Mhm. Okay. All right. That's actually a great gesture that you guys have been doing into this particular area. Okay. Which has been like missing out since so long. But I think COVID has actually given out a new perspective for every working scenarios, I believe.
Yes, yes. Initially, we were working only for the education and employability. And now in our policy also, we have to make change that we are going to work on the preventive healthcare practices
Mhm.
as well as on poverty.
Okay.
Because we have to take approval from the board for that
Mhm.
we are changing our policy.
Mhm.
And from the Schedule 7, we have to pick up some activities and we have to work in a very, very sustained manner. Not COVID is here,
Mhm.
and it's not going to be, it's going to stay with us for a longer time.
Mhm.
So not to deal with it in day-to-day manner, we have to really strategize on long-term basis. So we have to strategize on short-term basis as well as long-term basis. So it's like any pandemic. You have to find solutions which are immediate for the immediate needs, as well as you have to plan for long-term basis. And in that terms, I'm saying we have to really facilitate reverse migration. Otherwise, there will be would be another exodus. Now people will be coming back from the village to city.
Mhm.
And how long they can keep shunting like this from city to village and then village to city? We have to really facilitate them wherever they are.